Hello, welcome back. I'm Andrew and I'll be your guide to this presentation on the local area. Situated within the Parc Naturel Régional du Verdon, Régus is quite a charming little village. It's renowned for its windmills. Windmills were introduced in Provence in the 12th century, and these two date from the 17th century. The heart of the village is quite picturesque. It has bars, a couple of restaurants, a small grocer's shop, a post office, and a Super U supermarket which also sells petrol and diesel. And there's a vibrant market on Sunday mornings. Just a couple of kilometres from the house, Boissac Bellevue lives up to its name. It enjoys fine views towards the town of Ops, and it has two good restaurants. 10 minutes from the house by car, the small town of Ops is the truffle centre for the region. It has a wide range of facilities. It's got some very pleasant shaded streets with bars and cafes. There's a bank with cash dispenser, a pharmacy, a garage, and several really good, well-priced restaurants. And there's an open-air market, which is held on Wednesday and Saturday mornings. You can buy anything here from herbs and spices, to clothing, sausages, vegetables, and even a mattress. Sainte-Croix lies 16 kilometres, about 15 minutes, from Régus on the road to Draguignan. This small medieval village has a fine square with cafes and restaurants. The older part of the village is an attractive and highly photogenic enclave. And there are also some cave dwellings which can be visited on payment of a small fee. 18 kilometres from Régus lies Tourtour. This is a very well preserved hillside village. It has several cafes, bars and restaurants, some overlooking the valley which lies to the south. The medieval part has some very interesting houses. This one incorporates an enormous rock. On the road back to Ops, you'll pass the olive groves of the Château de Touraine. And there are also over a dozen wineries in the area. To the north of Régus, just 15 minutes from the house by car, lies the fabulous facility of the Lac de Sainte-Croix. This is a beautiful sight at every season, even in early spring when snow still lies on the hills. In the summer, fantastic cloud formations can often be seen. So this man-made lake is really a great amenity. Canoes and paddle boats can be hired from several places along its shoreline, and the lake is bordered by pebble beaches, and their gently sloping gradients make it safe for swimming. The village of Sainte-Croix du Verdon is nestled between the Plateau de Valensole to the west and the lake shore to the east. It perches on the hill slope. The village has restaurants and cafes with panoramic views over the lake. What could be better than to take a long lunch in such a location? At the southern end of the lake lies Baudois, just 20 minutes from the house. It has a good range of cafes, bars and restaurants. It's also the start of a walking circuit around the peninsula of La Défense. This passes several sheltered bays from which you can swim. And on the way back to the car, you might just stop and have a wonderful galette. Overlooking the western shore of the lake lies the Plateau de Valensole. This is a wonderful place in late June and July, with its fields of flowering lavender grown for the perfume industry. These contrast with the fields of sunflowers. and with fields of cereals. Set high above the eastern shore of the lake, on the way to the gorges of the Verdon, lies Éguines with its chateau. It's a great place to stop and take in the fine view. These gorges are truly spectacular, and they're less than an hour away from the house. From a point near to the seasonal Poste de Secours rescue station, it's possible to walk down into the gorges. It's a bit of a scramble in places, and it takes about an hour to go down and about an hour and a quarter to climb back up. At the bottom, there's a footbridge linking the two long-distance hiking trails which run along either side of the gorge. Remember to take plenty of water. Considered to be one of the plus beaux villages de France, Moustiers lies just north of the Lac de Sainte-Croix and the western exit of the gorge of the Verdon. Clinging to the rock wall of the valley, the village is renowned for its ceramics and its 12th century church. Perched high above the village is the Chapelle de Notre-Dame de Beauvoir, which is accessible on foot. It's a bit of a climb, but the path to the chapel provides fine views of the village and of the surrounding countryside. The lower gorges are also well worth visiting. Canoes, electric boats and paddle boats, pedalos, can be hired from several places south of Quinçon. You can moor your boat and sit back and watch the world drift by as you enjoy a picnic lunch. The lower gorges open onto the Lac d'Esparon, and at Esparon de Verdon you can hire boats and also take a guided boat trip around the lake. A little further to the west lies Griault-les-Bains, a Roman spa town dating from the 1st century AD. The sulphurous waters can still be taken at the Établissement Thermal. Heading south from Régus via Ops, 24 kilometers away lies Cotignac, one of our favourite towns. It's set dramatically beneath an 80-metre high wall of rock, and it's a delightful town. It comprises an old quarter with 16th and 17th century houses arrayed along narrow streets beneath the cliff. Its 18th century addition has a tree-lined main street with shops, cafes and restaurants, and it's here that the market is held. In the face of the cliff there are caves, and these have sometimes been enlarged to create cave dwellings, and some of these can be visited. South of Cotignac, about 8 kilometers east of Carcès, lies the Abbey of Le Tournai, the first Cistercian abbey in Provence, and definitely worth visiting. Typical of an order which is renowned for its austerity and rejection of worldly comfort, the abbey was set in deep woodland. By the 1400s, the abbey had become dilapidated, and it was finally abandoned in 1791, and subsequently restored by the state. Returning to Régus, you might take in Entrecastot. It's known mainly for its chateau and the small formal garden laid out by André Le Nôtre, who planned the gardens at Versailles. Closer still to home, Salerne is worth a stop, if only to take a refreshing drink in its shady square. Southeast of Régus, the busy commercial centre of Draguignan also has an older and a quieter quarter which is very well worth exploring. And, on the way to or from Draguignan, the small town of Fléasque is also well worth a visit. Thank you for joining me on this short excursion, and I hope you log into the fourth in this series, which is about places to visit in the wider region. Bye for now.